Warning, this contains spoilers for the first and second books in Hugh Howey's Silo series, Wool and Shift. This is ScreenRant's big plot theory for Silo Season 3, so take this video with a grain of salt. It's pure speculation based on everything we know about the third season.
In my hands, anyone's hands.
Because of the poison they can pump in?
The cliffhanger ending of Silo Season 2 teased a grim fate for both Bernard and Jules, who got locked in the incinerator between the silo and the outside world. But just like in the ending of Wool, the basis for Seasons 1 and 2, Jules will not just survive, but become the new mayor as well. Like the first two seasons, the third will change certain parts of Hugh Howey's story, but also preserve its most crucial beats and narrative themes. In fact, while Season 3 is based on the book Shift, in which Jules has but a small role, showrunner Graham Yost already confirmed that she will return for the new season. According to Yost, in an interview with TV Line, in the book Shift, Juliette doesn't appear until like the last page, right? It's about this silo, but it's also the origin story of the whole silo project. I would say that we have Rebecca Ferguson playing Juliette, and she is not just going to be in the last scene of the season. Juliette would be a big part of Season 3. After all, Jules fashioned her suit from a firefighter's uniform she found back in Silo 17. So while she could suffer from burns, Jules will become the main character again in Silo Season 3. But what about Bernard?
Shut your eyes. All of you, shut your eyes. Shut your eyes.
Bernard actually dies at the end of the book Wool, which is loosely what the Season 2 finale is based on. But in the show, he won't be able to escape justice that easily. So in Season 3, it will be revealed that Jules jumped on Bernard just as the fires hit, and since she's wearing not just a firefighter's suit, but a wet one, it will be enough to save both their lives. However, given Bernard's age and his not wearing a fire retardant suit, he's going to be stuck in the medical level until the rest of Silo 18 decides his fate, which we'll get into later in the video. For now, with Bernard sidelined, the legacy is going to need a different figurehead to carry out its mysterious designs.
Here is safe, and there is not.
As Camille proved in the last episodes of Season 2, she was willing to play both sides to prevent the rebellion. Given what she accomplished despite her limited power and influence, Camille is clearly resourceful enough to be chosen by the legacy as the new head of IT. Perhaps more importantly, Camille isn't privy to the knowledge that drove Lucas and Bernard into complete apathy and resignation. At least not yet. Speaking of which, isn't Silo 18 about to be wiped out by the poison gas that the legacy will pump in as a safeguard? Not yet. Technically, the rebellion didn't achieve its main goal, a mass exodus from the silo into the outside world. And as we saw back in Silo 17, this is what triggers the safeguard. That said, the rebellion at Silo 18 is far from over.
Why are you here?
I was given instructions.
Within Silo 18, only Jules, Bernard, and Lucas are the ones who know about the safeguard. And in Season 3, Mayor Jules will find herself in a precarious new position. She has to keep the other rebels in the dark about the safeguard, at least until she can figure out how to stop it. So when she relates what she found in Silo 17, Jules omits details about the safeguard and the survivors she found there. While Mayor Jules' supporters volunteered to conduct expeditions outside, Jules herself shuts down these ideas with horror stories about Silo 17. Nearly crumbling under the weight of these secrets, Jules shares her burden with the only person in the silo she can trust with the truth. "I don't know how long I can keep this up, Walk," says Jules. Walker just sighs and reaches out to hold her hand. Without speaking, Walker uses sign language to tell Jules that she loves her. As the camera zooms out of the touching moment, the scene transforms into grainy surveillance footage. Up top, the new head of IT, Camille Sims, watches Mechanical from a monitor in the observation room. There, she tells one of the watchers, pointing to Walker's hand signing to Jules, "That's a new one. Put it in the log." Elsewhere, Sheriff Billings informs Knox and Shirley about blind spots in the nightly patrols, allowing them to sneak unseen into a vent that could lead to the safeguard pipe. "It's not that I don't like crawling into dark corners with you," Knox tells Shirley, "but I don't see why Jules can't at least tell us what this is about." Shirley shushes Knox. "Yeah, but it's not like we can't trust Jules." Meanwhile, in an unknown part of the silo, Lucas resigns himself to a life of collecting odds and ends, satisfying his curiosity just enough to stay sane. While fiddling with an old radio, Lucas catches a fuzzy message from the outside, from which he can only make out the words Jules and Silo 17. It's revealed to be Solo and Hope, trying to find out whether Jules is still alive. In the process, however, they inadvertently broadcast that the savior of Silo 18 is actually lying to everyone. Realizing how this could lead to another rebellion and the release of the safeguard, Lucas finally escapes his existential slump. He heads to the medical level to seek the only person who could possibly help Mayor Jules keep everyone alive, Bernard.
I love that song. So, one thing.
At the medical level, Lucas is horrified to find Bernard barely responsive. Almost his entire body is wrapped in bandages, but Lucas knows Bernard can hear him, so he wastes no time to explain the situation. Bernard, begs Lucas, you need to tell me how to disable radio across the silo. Weakly, Bernard raises his hand and finally speaks. No. Bernard motions for Lucas to get closer, and then whispers to his former shadow an alternative plan. Can I have a moment with the mayor alone? Says Bernard to the room. Jules nods to Sheriff Billings and the others to leave. With no one else around, Bernard tells Jules what Lucas heard on the radio, and then proposes his plan. Blame me, he tells Jules. Tell them what you saw in Silo 17 was another trick. It's the only way to prevent another rebellion. For a moment, Jules contemplates Bernard's proposal, until she finally says, you're right, but I also need you to do one more thing when you get out there. Jules then stuffs Bernard's suit pockets with 2 rolls of airtight tape and handfuls of steel wool. As Bernard walks out of the silo, cheers erupt across the cafeteria. Predictably, Bernard cleans the external sensors and then walks away from the camera's sight. He then walks over to an area behind the silo exit where a raised metal vent protrudes from the ground. Bernard then stuffs the vent using the wool in his pockets and then generously tapes over the vent. According to Jules' plan, Bernard temporarily disables the safeguard that would pump the poisonous outside air into the silo, buying time for Jules' eventual evacuation plan into Silo 17. Having completed his last task, Bernard walks back to the front of the sensor, takes off his helmet, and drops dead. Back in the silo, no cheers erupt this time, but the mood is far from somber. Discreetly, Knox hands over some credits to Shirley, who tells him, told you so. Soon after, Jules publicly reads out Bernard's last statement. Through his last words, the former head of IT doubles down on his villainous reputation, in effect raising support for the mayor and her evacuation plan to Silo 17. And with that, Silo Season 3 ends on another massive cliffhanger, setting up the final and 4th season of the show. But wait, what about the flashbacks and Shift?
Why are you here? I want to save the silo.
As teased at the end of Season 2, the 3rd season will reveal the life of Congressman Daniel Keene, one of the proponents of the Silo program. However, Season 3 will limit these flashbacks in order to focus on the future of Silo 18. At the same time, every flashback will draw parallels with the lies being told in the Silo, underscoring a core theme in the books. Even across time and the apocalypse, humanity never changes. But what do you think? Tell us your own predictions about Silo Season 3 and keep watching ScreenRant.